Good evening.
Good evening,
How are
man.
you?
I'm very, very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah. I was trying to work out how long ago it was we did the other one. It's
That would
months.
be, it would be about 4 months or something. A lot less
Yeah.
be it for both of us anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that had
it's
to
all
go.
done. Yep.
Yeah. So it's all lack of carriage is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it was back in May sometime or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it probably was. And you've done like a million of these since then, haven't you? So
I've done 63 because you're number 64. So
I should have waited 5.
yeah. Oh well, who's counting anyway?
You know. Hey.
But super cool to have you back, man. I'm really I've been looking forward to this, man.
It's been bizarre, like, because so much has changed in just that short space of time due to obviously the lockdown. I think the lockdown thing's been, like, at the time it was like weird, obviously, but everybody was in that. And then I think since they've relaxed things and people have got back out in the real world, like, it's still weird, or it certainly is here anyway, and nobody really knows what they're doing. But we're expected to go back to work and carry on as life as normal when it just isn't. It ain't normal. Yeah. And, there's so many things that, I mean, obviously the last time I spoke to you, I was back in the communicators. We had a whole new rebranding thing going on. We were just about to go on tour before COVID hit. And, everything was, there's videos coming out left, right and centre. And everything was gung-ho, full steam ahead.
Oh, it was. Yeah, you were releasing videos all the time.
And
every week.
Well, during the actual lockdown, it was, apart from having a 1-year-old, which takes up an unbelievable amount of time, as you're aware, the videos were keeping me sane, really. And getting us out there and keeping us current, I guess. Yeah. And but then, like I say, since they've relaxed the rules, because I don't know what it's like where you are, but basically we've got 9 people in the communicators, and we've got brass, as you're well aware. And the guidelines on brass is that because it's like basically a spit, isn't it? They're doing all that. The guideline is they have to be 3 meters apart, right? Well, we got 4 of them, so there's 12 meters. Before we've even got off the bat, and then there's another 5 of us, and we got to stay a meter apart. So that's like 17 meters this way, that way, this way, and this way that we have to, abide by in order to do a gig. Well, unless we're playing bloody Wembley, we ain't going to be able to do that. And there's no. There doesn't seem to be a time that they're saying, well, this will be all right. So I've no idea, what that means, and which is soul destroying, to be honest, because we were right at that place where we were going to be out and bringing this new sound and everything, and I was really keen and enthusiastic for that. And now, we've no idea what, whether the Coms are actually going to be able to play again, which is, the thought of that is just insane.
Oh yeah, because if they're gonna keep those restrictions for a
who
long
knows?
time. Yeah.
Who knows?
You better call up Wembley now, man, just to be.
Absolutely, yeah. But then there'll be about 30 people in Wembley because that's all they'll be allowed, and it'll be a bit weird. But so it's a really odd thing that, I mean, if we don't play, say, till February next year, that'll be a whole year that we've not played, and that's just insane. When we had all this tour and everything ready, and we were so excited about it, and the tour bus was booked, man. Do you know what I mean? We were one step away from getting on it, and we were going all up and down the country, Scotland and up Newcastle, and just from there down, we had this whole thing mapped out. And of course, people will say about the tour bus, things like the tour bus they needed paying for up front, or at least a deposit. And of course, we go back to them and say, look, we can't do it because of COVID. And they're like, well, we can't give you your money back. We'll keep it on like a deposit until you're ready to go.
Yeah, okay.
Until you're ready to go again.
Yeah.
Well, like nobody can give us that as an answer of, well, May you'll be able to do it, unless they get a cure or whatever. This could be these restrictions for forever. Now, as I was saying to you before, that my coping mechanisms, it's part of my coping mechanism now is the band. It used to come in the bottom of a glass, I used to, and that wasn't good for my health. And I discovered new coping mechanisms, which the band was definitely one of those. I was saying just before we got cut off, and people are watching this for the first time, going to be thinking, what's he talking about, cut off? Because we've started again. But, that, playing football is great for my head. Being in the band, being able to see my family, and my mum, because she's not been well. So spending a lot of time with them are all things that, help keep me straight. Well, COVID overnight took those three things away, So it's important. I found myself sat in the hot tub one Tuesday morning with a can of cider thinking, what are you doing? It's Tuesday morning. It's 10 o'clock. What are you doing? And that was my head going, you need to cope. And this, we've got rid of all these. Maybe go back to an old one, It's like, well, okay, no, that can't happen. So what I had to do was go, well, what can I do? And the only thing that I know to do, apart from having a 1-year-old, which is, as you well know, time consuming.
Can be.
Apart from that, yeah. Great fun, but time consuming. Apart from that, it's like, well, what am I going to do? Because my work as well, that I know but some people might not know that I work with people with addiction. So I help people with addiction, and that keeps me straight too. Doing that a lot helps me, and of course I'm not able to do that because you can't get in a room with people, and which is what needs to happen. I started doing some Skype calls, and I offered actually and gave free counselling to NHS staff locally to me. Is part of, like, I've got to do something, so I did that, and it's okay, but this is when you're trying to help someone, this is okay, but part of coming somewhere and dealing with your stuff is that you can leave it there. But when you're doing this, if you're talking to me about something that you want to get off your chest and out of you, with you sat there, still there. Do you know what I mean? So the actual one-to-one being somewhere is massively important. So that sort of dropped off during COVID. So then it was like, Jesus Christ, all my coping mechanisms have gone out the window here. But what I can do is I can continue writing tunes and doing that. But then of course you get the bit of your head that wants you to sit in the hot tub and drink cider. That bit of your brain goes, well, what's the point of you writing songs? You can't go out and gig. You can't go out and do anything. So why bother? So hey, good point. So what do you do? So I was writing all these songs, and during lockdown, I reckon I probably wrote about 50 songs during that.
50?
Yeah. I've got this just sat. Just writing stuff, and a lot of it was like, this, even if the comms go back out again, I'm not sure this is going to be right for them. So what is this? What am I doing? And because in truth, I think you remember we did the first one I wrote on the first day of lockdown was Lockdown Summer Bummer. It's the comms, but even that was a bit far away from what the comms were. It was like, that was almost like this crossover thing. It was like, could the comms do it? Because that was basically me sat in me conservatory just banging out a guitar and
Yeah, it's
playing the
just
drums and
a good little happy acoustic tune.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily a communicator song. You know,
Yep.
we put it out as a communicator song because it's like, well, if we're going to do it, what can we do? So we put it out as a communicator song. But that was the start of, you know, a whole host of songs that was like, well, actually, no, this is anything but, you know, certainly not ska music, you know. And we already had a bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, a to-do with traditionalist ska fans who are a bit like, "Ooh, hang on a minute, there's some heavy electric guitars and stuff on this, and that's not what they call ska." And it wasn't, you know, it was a crossover thing, and because I think I probably said to you on the last thing that we did that I never really called us a ska band, you know.
Yeah, you kind of made up your own genre.
Yeah, which was the Brit ska thing, because it was like, well, that sort of covers all bases. But then I think you get, with the ska scene, you very much get a bit of, you know, this, and I love this about the ska scene, they're very passionate about it being that. And if you sort of do something which is a bit that, well, they're not really that into it. So it was like, I remember we went and did a gig, and we went to the Ska Festival in Manchester, and they hated us. Absolutely hated us, and it was like, okay, well, why is that? But then a lot of the other bands were doing some covers and stuff, which I've got no issue with that either. But I did stand there at that festival and think, this ain't for me. This isn't why I put the comms back together. And it was a bit of a, phew, Jesus Christ, yeah, maybe this is why I left it in the first place.
What was that? Like, what feeling was that?
It was, this crowd don't want me. This crowd don't, you know, and this is the genre we're being put in, but they're not responding to us, is that? Because I don't think we are that. And it was like, right. Ooh, this is a toughie, which is when the whole sort of rebrand thing came about, because it was like, well, okay, how can we do this that we can still play these songs and have an audience, which is when the Britska thing definitely sort of, you know, I mean, I've been thinking about that for a little while, but that was when I was like, right, yeah, we're going to do this rebrand, and that was going amazing. You know, we've got the whole new logos, colourful, but you know, it was a bit psychedelic-y, you know, which is part of what I love doing the videos.
Yeah, we spoke about that on the first chat. Yeah, the whole sort of rebrand and how everything went into it. Yeah, and that was awesome.
So that was the thing. It was like, okay, we're going to do that, and of course then COVID-19 came along and just pissed on those chips.
Sure did.
And so I got like a bag full of songs and no band or no outlet to do it. And I was like, okay. So when they relaxed the rules, I said to the comms guys, come on, let's get in a room. You know, the studio where we rehearse, I'd been there recording some stuff, and he's got like perspex barriers up everywhere. You've got your own little section you can stand in and stuff, and he was following all the social distancing rule. And I said, could we rehearse here with these bands? He's like, yeah, cool. So I said, like, let's get together. But then of course one of the brass guys said to me, like, there's not 12 meters there, you know, and we can't possibly rehearse. So we started rehearsing just as the five of us, you know, with no brass. And it's like, well, if we get this tight, you know, it's as long as the brass guys know what they're doing, when eventually someone says, well, you can gig, bang, we can get back out there. Of course, that's not happened anyway. But then we were, but there was a bit of sort of lethargy in our rehearsals, because it was like, why are we doing this? There's nothing to do this for. You know, we know all these songs. There's no gigs to do these for. And if we start learning new songs, then we're not going to be able to go out and gig them straight away because the brass won't know them. And it's like, oh, this is a nightmare.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
That was almost worse than not playing at all, because it's like, I bang got a carrot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm not only going to take the carrot away, I'm going to stick out your ass. And it's like, no, this is like, this is like not fair. So I was saying to the guys, the five guys, that, you know, the guitarist, the drummer, the bass player, and the keyboard player, I said, what do you think of this new song? And it was a song called Zombies, and we did this, which was about the whole lockdown thing, it was mental, right? I'll send you this song, right? But there's the choruses. I got zombies in the bedroom painting their toes, got zombies in the bathroom blowing their nose, got zombies in the kitchen doing a twist, and zombies in a hot tub all on the piss, right? And that was because I was stood in my garden, right, on this, it was blaring sun in there, and I was stood in there, and I looked over left next door, and there was a woman in her kitchen, and she must have had the radio on because she was dancing, right, but nobody was allowed outside their house. And I looked up into the bedroom above, and then there was a girl down, she was painting her toes or doing something. And then I looked over to the right, and there was a guy in his hot tub, and he must have been on piss all day because he was sort of slumped into his hot tub. And I was like, we're all fucking zombies, man. This is insane. And so I wrote this song, and I was like, could this be a comm song? And we sort of tried to shoehorn it a bit as a comm song. You know, I did, you know, a skanking guitar on it, and Bob, the sax player, came over and he put a sax solo on it. It's like, yeah, it sort of is, but it's gonna, like, if they couldn't cope with those songs in the comm set. Well, things like Let It Go, it's like, oh, that's not ska. Like, and it's like, if they can't cope with that, they ain't gonna fucking like this. This is a nightmare. So you
talk about the audience now. So you talk about the audience when you say, okay, yep.
So then I got the five of us to learn this zombie song, and it sounded mint. It was like, it sort of sounded a bit, for me, it sounded a bit like, I don't know, Supergrass. And sort of that, it was guitar-y. It was a bit punk and a bit, which some of the comm stuff was sort of going a bit that way. But this was like, whoa, there was no brass on it, and it was like, whoa, it was guitars and stuff, and it was more punk than ska punk. And I was like, okay, well, it sounds great though. And then I got another one, which was called Friday Night Club, it was actually about the end of lockdown and not wanting to go back to work on Monday, because it's like, you know, that Sunday night feeling you had when you were a kid, when you had to have a bath. And
you got school the next day, with the weekend is done.
Friggin' songs of praises on and all that shit, right? It was like, it's that feeling of, and I thought, Christ, when this whole lockdown thing's over, and that day before we all go back to work and do stuff, that's just going to be a bummer, right? So that song was all about that, and I brought that to the guys, and I said, what do you think of this? And we played through it. It's like, oh, that sounds really good. So it sort of went on and on and on like that. And I was like, this stuff's like too good to just do nothing with. So I had a chat with Ollie, who's the guy I write with, who owns the studio, and I said, look, can we sell some of these, or what do you think? And he said, why don't you just do them? I was like, just the audience now, or the comms audience. You know, I was thinking about it, you know, I had a chat with the bass player, Adam, and he said, if we went and did these songs at like the gig, like the Tropicana, which was our first comeback gig, if we went and did those songs and they were expecting the communicators at that gig, they'd go, what the fuck is this? You know, and I was like, yeah, you're right. But he said, but they're great. They are great. Why don't we just? And it was our keyboard player. He said, why don't we just like put together a little 5-piece band and do these songs? Because we could actually go out and gig. When it relaxes a bit more, and we could do a live stream gig. We could do stuff. Yeah. Why don't we just do that? And I was like, oh, because. You know, it's always weird when you do something like that, because if COVID hadn't come along, the comms wouldn't be in this, because we haven't split up. We're just, everything's on pause. Yeah. And, you know, that wouldn't have happened. So it's like, and then what you say to 4 people who, through no fault of their own, can't play, you know, it's shit for them.
Man, it would be.
It's just crap. So Fortunately, fortunately, our trombone player and one of our sax players, they're married, and Abs, who's our trombone player, got pregnant, and she's since had a little one. So they haven't really got a lot of time for anything anyway at the moment.
That's convenient.
Well, I would say fortunately, yeah, it was fortunate. Bob was the other sax player. He's easy going with it, and then Peanut, the trumpet player, he runs his own business, which a new strand of that business came about through COVID. It was like delivering food and stuff, and that's gone massive. So he's really, really busy as well. So
yeah, good.
It hasn't been like, I mean,
there's a silver lining. There's a silver lining. Yeah.
Well, I said, you know, Peanut in particular, I said, you know, it's shit that we can't do this, but when we can, we will.
Yep.
But I've got to do this because I'll lose my fucking brain if I don't. And you know, it was okay. But it felt weird for a little while because like since then, I mean, what have we done? We've done probably about 8 rehearsals. Is this new thing? So it's that new, right? And I reckon we've got up to about 50 minutes worth of set, and we've got another, we've got another God knows how many songs to learn. So the idea is that we're going to get an hour and a half set together.
And all these songs are songs you've written during the last couple of months. Yeah,
I mean, there's one. I think you played Hurricane, didn't you?
Yep.
I wrote that a long time ago. Right. I wrote that. I wrote that during my time from when I was, because I know you know, but some people on here might not know. I used to be 23 stone and dropped 11 stone and da-da-da. And I wrote that song during that period. I didn't do anything with it, but I wrote that song during that period. So that was like a revisit. It was like, okay, that would fit this. So let's, you know, let's bring that. And there's a few that have been around that time. But yeah, I think during lockdown, I wrote about 50 songs, whether that be ones
so
for the comms.
Insane, man. That's crazy, man. How can you write that many? That's well done, man.
The honest answer is I don't know. Other than it's that thing. Once I got a song down and out of my head, then it's over there, and then I've got space to dream up other shit. You know, I can remember I watched because you're wearing your Beatles t-shirt, might as well have a bit of Beatles trivia. Paul McCartney, when he wrote Yesterday, he dreamt it. And he woke up and was like, "What is that?" And he didn't have any lyrics for it. He just had the melody. And I don't know if you know this, but the original lyrics that he wrote down so he wouldn't forget the melody was "Scrambled eggs, oh my baby, how I love your legs." Right? That's how he did it.
I did not know that.
Right. But he wrote it down, and because he scribbled it at the side of his bed. And then he got up the next day and he was going around to everybody and going, "What is this tune? It has to be like something I've heard or whatever." And he went to John Lennon, and John Lennon went, "Don't know, never heard it. It's good though." Yeah, you know. And he went to George Martin. George Martin went, because he thought George didn't know, because it must be some classical piece that I've heard. And George Martin went, "No, I've never." So he decided, well, it must be mine then. And I get shit like that all the time. Like I'll be asleep and I'll just wake up with a tune in my head, and obviously things are a bit like with mobile phones. I can sing. It drives my wife insane. You know, she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. You're singing. It's like, "You're going to wake Arlo up." And I'm like, "I'll go downstairs and do it." So you know. And so I get stuff like that. I get stuff where I might be driving to the shop and a song will go off in my head. And, you know, again, you've got your mobile phones and stuff. And it's like having a dictaphone, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And I write about anything. You know? I mean, Hurricane's quite a personal one because, you know, that transition I was going through. I had this bananas idea that people just won't get what I'm going through, right? And how can you, like for someone who's always been slim and never had addiction or anything of that nature, how can you try and explain to them what that's like? because you can't, unless you've been through something like that, you can't explain it. So, and my thought process of that is, and I said to somebody when I was having this conversation, I said, it's like trying to explain aeroplanes to fishes. How the fuck would you do that? You got a fish, right? And it's like a fish who's in the water, and so you say, well, it's a tube that people travel around in the air, and they'd be like, what the fuck's the air, man? It's like, how can you do that? So in Hurricane, there's a line that says about explaining aeroplanes to fishes who don't even understand what the sky is, and and that was about my whole process of going through this, what felt like a hurricane. It was like, whoa, this is intense. But literally anything that just general, you could ask anybody in the band, they'll be like, what's that? And I'll tell them, and go, I was with you when you saw that, or when you did that. Well, how did that come about? And I don't know. It just, like the zombies one, that was literally just looking around the garden, or next door, actually. I'm thinking, that's insane. There's a song you're going to play later on called Hey, What You Doing? And that came about from when I was able to go out. I'd come in to my house, and my son and my wife would be upstairs, and I'd shout upstairs, hey, what you doing? And it literally, from there, took off. And because when I said it sort of got more rhythmically as I was saying, hey, what you doing? There's a tune. And then it just went on from there. And it's about my wife and my day and stuff like that. And so I say it's about 50 songs, and it is around about that, but I don't think of it as, I've written 50 songs. It's just my day goes like that.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it just, like I said, it just comes to you. Got your dictaphone. I'm the same. I've got like a ton of notes. I think a lot of musicians have that. We have an idea. You got your phone in your pocket. Blah 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 blah. You hum a little melody, or you quickly just write down a couple of cool lyrics. And you revisit that when you have the time to.
Well, I had this yesterday. It was a classic example. Right, they come up on like on Facebook, it comes up, says it's such and such's birthday today, and you like, and I got like 5,000 friends or whatever. They're not friends. I don't know who they are, right? But you know what it's like. And one came up, and her name was, according to Facebook, her name's Sally Cinnamon, which is a Stone Roses song. And I was like, that's interesting. It's her birthday today, Sally Cinnamon. Let's click on it. We're friends. Let's see who she is. And I clicked on it. I said, band management and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, that'd be interesting. So I started looking into who the band management company was. And she's a massive girl. It appears that she was a big Oasis fan and into that scene. And from it, there was the person who's in the management thing with her was a guy called Paul Dixon, or Dixie, as they all call him. And I thought, I know that name from somewhere, whatever. And there was a film, and I don't know if you would have ever known the film. No, what was the bloody film called? Svengali, right? The film was called. And
it rings a bell.
Well, there was one in 1913, Svengali thing, but that's not it. It's the one that was 2013, right? Or 961, I don't do whatever, but it's the 2013 one. And it's about this Welsh guy who has got this ambition to be a manager of a band. And he was like, I've got to move to London. I've got to find the band, then I've got to move to London, convince them that I'm their manager, and I'm going to get them a deal. This is and he does. He finds this band on the internet, and he goes to he finds out where they're rehearsing, and he moves to London, and he says, "Look, I'll get you a record deal within 4 months." Blah 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 blah. And they're like, not interested. And then he goes, "Well, I've got beer," and they're like, "Oh, all right, cool, that's fine." And the film's brilliant. It's a bit like a modern day Commitments, but better. Yeah, that was quite a cool film. So, but and it sort of goes through this and how he gets him a record deal, and it ends up they fuck him over at the end, really, and they sign a deal with somebody else. Man. but it's a love story in it. There's the girl Vicky, I can't remember her last name. I can't remember her name, but she was in This Is England, the film This Is England, and Martin Freeman, who was in Love Actually and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he's in it. And you know him if you saw him. And a guy called Jonathan Owen, who plays the main character, and the main character is this guy who I found yesterday.
Oh wow,
Dixie, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, interesting. So, and Jonathan Owen's now he's a presenter on TalkSport Radio, I think. Right? But he wrote the film. This Jonathan Owen, he wrote it about this guy Dixie, and he plays Dixie in the film. And also, I found out, which I'll get onto, that Jonathan Owen was the lead singer in the band that this Dixie was trying to promote. So he wrote the film about Dixie, and then he played him in the film, right? So I watched this film and stuff, and I thought, and there's a phone number, and I thought, fuck it, just like we could do with some help. So I texted and said, singer-songwriter, put this new product together. Like, if I send you some stuff, can you help? And I got a message back, and the message was, you can send stuff, but I can pretty much tell you now that I'm not interested. I was like, direct, blunt, to the point. And I thought, I thought I'll send Hurricane, because I thought I could spend ages going, oh, it really is good. But I mean, how many times a day must you hear that? You know, so I thought, no, I'm just doing that. So I just sent it to his inbox, and I went, well, I've inboxed you one anyway. All right? So I sent it anyway. I then get a text message back, like really long message, and it started with, I don't know if there's any kids watching, but it was UCUNT, right? I was like, whoa. And he said, I didn't want to like another band. You know, cut a long story short, he said, I didn't want to like another band, but I was that impressed. I took it up to Sally, who was how I got his number.
Yeah.
Sally, Sally Cinnamon. She really loved it too. I can't say that we can necessarily help in the current situation, but we can get some people to listen to it, because it is.
Wow.
It is one of, he went, no, scrub that, it is the best song we've ever been sent. And I was like,
far out.
Well, that's a turnaround from basically
not
fuck
interested.
off, yeah.
I would assume a guy like that probably gets, he probably gets a lot of rubbish as well. Like, he would be getting a lot of stuff. Yeah.
He said, I get like loads and loads and loads and loads. But it's a bizarre thing, because you hear stories like this.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, it was like, oh, perhaps I should send my demo then, because he's going to pick up on that one thing,
Yeah.
But it just so happened he did. And he wrote on his wall, just when I was losing faith in the music industry, this thing comes along and hits you between the eyes, and this is it. And he put our track up and that. And in the film, Alan McGee's in the film, right? Playing Alan McGee, right? And if you don't know Alan McGee is, he's the guy that discovered Oasis and Creation Records, right? And I said it'd be great if, you could get Alan McGee to listen to. He said, well, Alan's who I thought straight away would be into this. So we're sort of, that was yesterday, so I'm waiting to hear anything. Yeah, right. So we're waiting to hear stuff. And, it could mean, like, even if Alan McGee loves it, it doesn't mean say he can do anything, No,
but, of course. But certainly
stores, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so all of this, was that because this person popped up at, it was her birthday?
Yeah. Sally Cinnamon, it was her birthday. And I just went on and went, happy birthday, here's a present for you, and stuck Hurricane on her wall. And that, it's as simple as that. But then that started getting me thinking about this Sally Cinnamon, and I thought I can't call this song Sally Cinnamon because the fucking Stone Roses had done that. So it started me thinking about a woman called Sally, and one of her posts on her Facebook said that she'd been down recently, and I think sadly she'd lost her mum, I think, and stuff. And it got me thinking about my mum and stuff, and how the doctor tried to give me freaking antidepressants, and there's a pill called serotonin, and so I thought, well, serotonin Sally. And so because we were talking about how songs come about, and I put those. It's not about her, but I put those two words together, and there was this chorus that came into my head straight away, and I was off. So then I'm writing that, and it's like it's about some girl who's down and a bit miserable, but and she, like, you know, and it just, I think you just, I mean, I haven't got a problem communicating generally, you know. I don't mind this as a medium. I don't mind, you know, I publicly speak about addiction and all that stuff anyway. But one of my best forms of communicating when I was younger and didn't have this about me to do this was writing songs. So although it's called Serotonin Sally, and it stemmed from her name and some horrible shit going on in her world, it's probably more about me than it is anything else. But that's just you know, I very rarely write a song about me. It usually comes in third person and like characters. So because as you know, I'm a big Beatles fan. I like bands like Squeeze and like storytelling bands, you know, who create characters, and, you know, Sexy Sadie, Polythene Pam, and all those types of things. And it's like, right, just go off on one, and you can express your feelings through somebody else, and then it's not so fucking painful a lot of the time. And you know, it's like we were saying about getting rid of that shit.
Yeah.
It sort of gets rid of that shit into that character, and she can have it, you know? And so that's why I think writing songs for me is just an ongoing therapeutic whatever. Anyway, I've been talking for hours. What you guys said?
No, I'm honestly, I'm just blown away by the fact that you can produce that many songs, and again, everything that you send over for me to listen to, again, it's all good stuff. Again, it's not like I'm sure there'll be a couple of fillers in there, you know, like you also, by the time you put together the whole album, everybody's all a little bit, I'm gonna you know, take X, Y, and Z out, and I'm gonna focus on these ones stuff. But everything you've sent through to me, it's like it's really good stuff. And what I'm super impressed about is the fact that, like, you guys have friggin' recorded them, you know, in a space of a couple of months.
Well, I think that's always been. I mean, we had a session on Friday where we just went and played, you know, the 45, 50 minutes set, and we just did it live just to see what we sound like live. And because when you're in a rehearsal room and it's so fucking loud or whatever, you can't always get the nuances and stuff of what's going on. And you get a feeling that it's good, but then when I've listened back to it, it's like, wow, actually, this band are fucking mint, you know, and they're gonna, you know, it's rock and roll. It's like going back. There's going to be the Oasis comparison, because that's the last rock and roll band that we've had in this country. But we got similar influences. You know, I like the Beatles, the Stones, the Pistols, you know, the Clash, you know, the Kinks, Small Faces, all, you know, the Who, massively influenced by the Who. Like a Hurricane is, you know, that could be Keith Moon drumming that. That was the vision I had for it when we did it. It was like, I want Mooney on this, you know. Yep. And it's a strange thing, because the Oasis thing, I'm a big Oasis fan. But it's like they're not producing albums anymore, and this is my mindset, right? When I went into the studio, because it was just me. So on those recordings, it's just me and Ollie, right? Because we both play drums, we both play guitar. Ollie can play some keyboards. you know, I'm a bit pigeon with keyboards, but I can do it, and we both sing. And he's an unbelievable bass player. So we sort of cobbled those recordings together, like between us.
It just makes it even more impressive.
I thought I'd take the edge off. And then we can give it to the guys, and they've gone away. And that was the big thing. They're listening to us as a band live on Friday. It was like, it sounds like that. This is great. It sounds like that. And that's what I want, you know? But that does speed things up, because you haven't got 4 or 5 people to argue with. Well, this is how the bass line goes. You got each up, you know, or this is how the what's it goes, and that's great. But the process of doing it, you know, we were knocking out. For example, what did I say? I sent you loads of stuff. Some tracks that. What songs did I send you?
They're on my other laptop. But so, yeah, I think you sent me like about 8 or 9 or something. Like it was almost an album.
And some of those, I think I said to you, were just demos. You know? And those demos, me and Ollie knock out in a day. You know, like Adam, our bass player, he said to me, the trouble is, because I send him stuff and I go, look, it's just a demo, don't judge. And they all go, thing is with your demos, Mitch, is that they're better than some people's recordings, but that's a lot of that's down to Ollie, you know, because we're in a studio. The guy's a legend, you know. If I got signed to EMI tomorrow, I would still record it at Ollie's, because he gets me. We write together. If I say to him, look, I want to sound like a cat sliding down a banister with only his balls as a break, he'd find it. You know, and he'd go like this, and I go, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I wanted, you know. So, which makes the whole process a lot quicker, and easier, and just more enjoyable. And then the guys come in and they do an amazing job. There are a couple of tracks that we've done where I've gone, here's literally the bare bones bit. Let's learn it in a rehearsal room, and then we've gone in and recorded it, and again, that's equally as good. So. But yeah, I think the thing is going back to I'm an Oasis fan, you know, they borrowed shamelessly from their heroes. And I think I was telling you about my mindset. So when I went into the studio with Ollie and I said, I've got a load of these songs. I said, I'm gutted that Oasis have split up, to be honest, because in my eyes, they were the last great rock and roll band. And our country, our world, needs a fucking great rock and roll band. So many bands at the moment they're scared to say what they think for fear of losing their deal. They're scared to say anything that's slightly controversial for fear of whatever. And it's like, back in, like, you were either an Oasis or a Blur fan in a day, and if someone asked you that and you got that wrong, you got a smack in the mouth back, you know. And I'm not condoning that. But like, what that bred was, this is a scene that I belong to. This is my identity. I'm a Beatles fan or a Stones fan. I'm a mod or a rocker. I'm a punk or a skinhead, whatever it might be. And those things are massively important to our identity, because it gives us something to fucking fight for. Now, I'm not suggesting that we all need to fight each other, but not having things to fight for leaves everything vanilla and bland and beige, and that's shit. That's like, I went to Glastonbury a few years back and Coldplay were headlining again. I ain't got a problem with Coldplay, all right, before that you know, it's all right. But again, it's what they're really, really good at is hooking you. That singing along thing, they're brilliant at that. But everything is vanilla. That's the only way I can.
It's well, they definitely have a much more commercial sound than
it's not
Oasis.
edgy. You know. Yeah. So there's this, and they were headlining again. Right? They the first year they headlined on a Friday, then they headlined on the Saturday the following year, and then this year they were headlining on a Sunday. And I was like, why is that? You know, why
3 years in a row?
Yeah. And I was like,
really?
But who else? Who else is around? There's no bands to challenge them, right? And it showed in the like all the like young'uns. I sound like an old git now, right? But they're all wandering around, going, "Where do I belong? Like, who should we go and see?" And you know, they got nothing to pin their stamp on, and it's like, so we'll just stay and get off our fucking face, and yeah, if Coldplay's on, yeah, I'll listen. If someone else is on, I'll listen to that. And it was never like that. And I think what that breeds is just this whole, you know, they talk about a snowflake generation. Jesus Christ. I think the lack of, like when the Pistols came out, they went, no, fuck off. I don't agree with that. And I'm going to tell you, you know, and I'm gonna go out of the way to be a little bit, you know, but that then gives the youth of a generation something to go on with them. And that purpose, that meaning, you know, you know, when I was younger and, you know, I was an Oasis fan, it was, I don't tell anyone I like Blur, right? That was the way it was. And it was like, no, I'm gonna wear a parka, I'm gonna, you know, grow my hair, I'm gonna do this, and this is who I am. You know, they look a bit like the Beatles as well, and that's cool. And that's who I am. And if you try and tell me that I should do that instead, no bollocks to it. But it gave me a direction. I don't think kids have got that now. I mean, you name a band now that has A, longevity, and B, you know, that I'm going to say something and it's going to rock your world. I can remember sitting in the bedroom listening to stuff and going, I'm going to, you know, live forever. Fuck, that's me. I'm going to fucking do that. You know, I'm going to be that person who's going to live forever. And he's talking about me, you know, and now he clearly wasn't, but that was how it made me feel. I don't know any music that does that. I guess like the grime scene a little bit now is got that little underground
interesting
thing about it. It's not my bag, but I understand the scene because kids, that's the new rock and roll. Well, I don't think you should invent the wheel. We don't need a new rock and roll. We just need fucking rock and roll because that's what.
But don't you reckon like with the amount of new music being sort of popped out today, that it like wouldn't it be like extremely difficult to sort of sustain that longevity? Because everything is just turning over. Like there's so much music out there.
But I think that part of the, you know, the record industry not being what it was, you know, it's not like in 1990 where, you know, you'd sign a record deal and, you know, you go around the world doing all the rest. It's not like that anymore. It's getting your music out to the masses is easier. But when you haven't got that juggernaut behind you pushing it and going, hey kids, this is, I think it's like there's too many sweets in the sweet shop, you know, and there's not, you know, there's not that sherbet lemon that's going to come out and make you go, oh fuck. And I'm as always, I want to be that sherbet lemon, you know, and that's cool. And I ain't got a problem with the masses putting music out. It's the fact that we're doing this, you know, that's how me and you met. You know, it's like how can we get music out on the internet and do all the rest of it? But I think there's still room for the other, you know, and the sherbet lemons will rise to the top if they're allowed to be sherbet lemons. That's why I've got this analogy going. But you know, and that's, you know, that was my thought process yesterday when he basically said, I'm not going to be interested. I thought, no, this is a sherbet lemon. You're going to want to suck it, right? And I literally just sent it. And it was like, just no, listen to that. That's not vanilla. You know, the thing with Hurricane, when I recorded Hurricane, the drums in it. Now you'll appreciate the drums in it because you're a great drummer, right?
No, the drums are fantastic, man. Like they're live.
They're not standard, right?
Absolutely.
You know? And our drummer's amazing, right? But when I played it to him, he's like, what the fuck are you doing there? You know? And it's like, it is mental, right? Because it's just all in the wrong place, right? It's a bit, I can remember a rhythm guitarist saying to me, not the one in the band, but a different one. He went, you'll make those drums more simple because you're losing the hook. I was like, no. For me, it's the thing that makes the song go, whoa, Jesus, that's different.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I reckon if the drums were a bit more sort of basic, or a little bit more blah, it wouldn't have the same.
It wouldn't
effect.
be as manic.
No.
You know, and I think that's the thing. It's like if you put Keith Moon in the Beatles, he'd have fucked it up. But if you'd have put Ringo in the Who, he'd have fucked that up. You know, it's like that's like horses for courses, and
it's the right recipe.
I wanted that high energy, you know. And the next song that you're going to play of ours, you know, it's a different type of tune. It's more, it's a laid back. It reminds me a bit of like Charlatans and In Spiral Carpets, and a bit sort of that Seahorses, that sort of scene. And but it's one of my favourite songs I've ever written. Hey, what you doing? It's just like when I hear it, I think, oh, I love that band. And I think, oh, that's me in it. Okay, yeah, I get that. Yeah. But when I went in the studio and recording these songs, because this is the point I started on, but I go off on so many frigging tangents, I said to Ollie, I'm really pissed off that Oasis is like, I'm just not going to get back together. It means that we're never going to have another Oasis album. And he went, no, we're not. And I went, well, let's write one. And he went, what do you mean? I said, well, I know what I want to hear from the next Oasis album or the next Beatles album. I know what I want to hear from it. So let's just write it. And he's like, you want to write the next Beatles album? I was like, yeah, let's do that. Or the next Who album, because, you know, I mean, the Who are doing stuff, but I was like, let's just do that. Let's write some songs that have, or, you know, and Revolver's one of my favourite Beatles albums. I said, like Revolver, Rubber Soul era, let's do some stuff like that. Let's do some stuff from that sort of definitely maybe thing and chuck it all together and put it out. And that'll be Jarvis Lane, which is the name of the band. It's like, that'll be Jarvis Lane. Let's do that. And I mean, he's been working with me for years, so he's learned to not go, I'm not sure you can do that. He sort of goes, yeah, okay. You know, it's like, let's get on it. And so that's how that whole thing really turned into recordings. It's like, well, I want it to be in that space that's now missing from my world. I'll fill it. I'll do it. You know, because they're not gonna. And that's as simple as that.
And all this is just in a space of a couple of months. Like, honestly, like how many hours have you got in the day? Because like I'm just sitting here, I'm just thinking, okay, so you've written all these songs, you've recorded all these songs, and you've it sounds like you've also like analyzed them and really sort of like try to actually create a product. Like you've thought about putting these songs together in the way you've done it. If I'm hearing this right, so. Like being able to do that in only a couple of months is staggering. And on top of that, you know, like you said, like you got a 1-year-old and you've had your job and stuff. Like, when do you sleep?
Yeah. If you look at my Facebook, I don't. I guess because like Jarvis Lane was a band that I wanted to put together years ago. Right?
Oh, okay.
It was an idea, you know, it was an ongoing thing. The new songs. Obviously, they've happened in the last few months, and it's still happening. Like I say, yesterday, I thought, oh, God, do this tune, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the idea of Jarvis Lane, because nobody will know this unless you live around here, there's a road called Jarvis Lane, right, in between where I live and the next town. And every time I drive past it, I go, that'd be a cracking name for a band of that genre. It wouldn't be like for a ska band, it would be a crap name, but for the type of band that this is, it's like perfect. And I think because like some people will go, is it a solo artist? Is he called Jarvis? Is he going by the name Jarvis now? You know, whatever. Or can it be a band? You know, it's a bit like, you know, Paul Weller, Stanley Road, that, you know, Abbey Road. It's got all that shit chucked in. Yeah. So every time I've driven past it, I've gone, man, someone's going to pinch that one day and it's going to piss me off, you know? And so I just went and I said, right, that's because we toyed with other, like when we were doing these rehearsals, we toyed with the delays was an idea. And I put it to the guys, I said, would you prefer this or this? And all bar one said, let's do the Jarvis Lane thing. And I say it was an idea of a band a long time ago.
Interesting.
But it never like we even like with 4 other guys rehearsed some stuff, and we were ready to go out, and the drummer quit, and it just all fell apart. And then I just didn't do anything. And then I got back in the comms, and that was that. And so when this came about, it's like, well, we can only really be a small band. How can I do this? Because it needs to get out there. But I guess the time issue, and you've really thought about the songs and the album and the way it's going to be. When I'm writing, like when I'm wandering around and things are coming in my head, all those thought processes get like when I'm writing a song. It's like, well, where would this fit on an album? Would this be a first album, a second album, third album? Would this be a single? Wow. Would this be what video would this fit in? So when the whole thing's going on in my head, it's like a picture.
Yeah.
That comes, and it's the whole package rather than just I've got some lyrics and a tune. It's like, right, okay. You know, sometimes you go in and you'll sing some lyrics and you go, what? And you'll listen to them back and you go, what is that actually about? Because like at the time when you're scribbling stuff down, it might not be about, well, you might think it's not about anything, but then you'll go, what actually is that about? And then you go, oh, well, that's about me again, isn't it? Jesus, you know, it's like, okay, but you know, it's all about Mitch, you know, and so yeah, it's a sort of ongoing thing regarding, you know, the studio stuff. I mean, the beauty of packages now is that you can do, if you've got something you can plug a guitar into and a bass and a vocal mic, you can record anywhere. The only thing
that's right.
Yeah, the only thing I really insist on recording is drums, because one reasons I play is for his ease of.
We've got a little bit of connection issues, a little bit of like distorting a little bit. But yeah, hopefully it'll come back again. But
can you hear me?
No, like, I can hear, but unfortunately, like I said, like the actual, like I don't know if someone else is accessing your internet at the moment or something, like if you've got someone else streaming in the background or something like that. But it's like the signal just got a little bit worse.
Right.
Which happens sort of from time to time.
From time.
But yeah, I don't know if we've got the full audio back again, but yeah, anyway, you were talking about how how you said that you preferred drums to still be recorded in
the studio. Just yeah, because you know Ollie's got years and years of experience of miking up a drum kit and getting that sound, you know.
Yep.
And he's a bit it's interesting because have you ever heard of a producer called Mickey Most? Right, Mickey Most, he produced like so many hits, right? And whenever you went to Mickey Most's studio, he'd had this Fender Precision bass, and like the bass player, whoever he was, when he came in, he said, "You're fucking playing that," right? And they'd be like, "Yeah, but I got this," and they go, "No, you're playing that because I get a fucking awesome sound on that Fender Precision." And so he made everyone play this Fender Precision bass, right? Ollie's like that. Ollie's like that bass drum kit. He's got a I don't know what kit it is he's got, but it's like this old vintage kit in there, and it's not so worried about the kit, but the snare drum. You just get like it's like chopping wood like when you play it,
right?
And it's just it's not like a mega expensive one or anything, but it's like wow, that sound is like, but he just knows how to get that sound out of that snare in his studio, and so that's important. And you know, just he's such a fantastic musician himself, you know, and plays loads of stuff on my tracks. You know, we write together, so you know, sometimes I can see him going, Jesus, because I'll come in and I go, I got this idea, you know, I want to do this, and he never says no, which is amazing. You know,
But so you're saying you guys are writing together? Is he also a part of the band, or is he just
no,
he just records?
Yeah, he records it, and you know, he's done all the writing. Even songs that I come and go, I've got this, it's finished. it's, you know, it's a bit like a Lennon and McCartney thing. Whatever song, you know, it's always me and him on the credit. And
cool.
He's like one of my longest friends. I've been going to that studio since 1992, and you know, he's like,
wow.
He just gets me. You know, I'll go in and do a vocal, and he'll know whether that's the best I got or not, and he'll tell me. And so I'll go, okay, yeah, do it again.
Yeah.
Or,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And I'll also go, like, he'll play guitars. He's far better guitarist than I am. And, you know, I'll go, yeah, you could do that. Can you do this with the solo? And I'll sing him shit and he'll play it. And it's like, that for me is invaluable.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, you have this working relationship of someone who is like, when you're that much sort of calibrated, like on the same page, it's so hard to find.
And like when I'm doing stuff, he'll go, oh, this needs a such and such, and he'll say it just before I was going to say it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is super rare. That is.
But with, you know, coming back to the time thing, you know, the keyboard player the other day said to me, you know, perhaps you just got more time than anyone else. And I was like, I said, yeah, you could say that, you know, but I have got a 1-year-old who is like just into everything. I've got a wife, you know, who likes my time from time to time.
Yep, they do.
My mum, you know, is not been well, so there's a lot of my time, you know, put there. I have my business, which is helping people with addictions, you know, which, you know, I do all this stuff, you know. I work in a rehab center on certain days, and so all that. But before we came on air, you asked me that one question about where's my time, you know. But the difference is I make time for it. You know, I literally, and people, yeah, but I can't. Yeah, you can. It's like when people go, you know, I ain't got time to go to the gym. Bullshit. You just don't want to go to the fucking gym. And songwriting and just getting things out, like I've said to you, it's really quite therapeutic for me. So
it is.
It's part of my ongoing therapy. In that, yeah, this shit needs to be done, and like you've got all this going on in your head. Sometimes I'll just have a headache, and I'll be like, "What is that? Why have I got a headache?" It's like, well, it's full of like get down to your little man cave, get your guitar on, and get the shit out, you know. And like 2 or 3 songs might come out of that, but you have to go, right, I'm going to do that. Like if you're like in the middle of the night, if you've got something going on in your head, don't go, oh, I'll do it in the morning. Can you imagine if Paul McCartney rolled over and went, oh yeah, that scrambled egg song, I'm not going to fuck, yeah. We never have yesterday. You know, he got up and went and sorted it. And it's having that commitment to your craft, or whatever you want to call it, to go, do you know what, this is vital that this comes out of here. Because how many times have you done that? I'm from bad experiences where I've got this fucking, I run into the studio and go, I've got this amazing fucking guitar line, Ollie. And they go, what is it? And I go, oh, I fucking can't remember it. But it kept me awake all night last night. Well, why didn't you write it down? Why didn't you, you know? Yeah, okay.
I was about to say, it's funny to say it. I had a guy on the show again a couple of months ago as well who woke up in the middle of the night and wrote pretty much in dot form, wrote an entire script for an opera.
Wow.
And woke up, and then I think he said he spent a couple of days just sort of gritting it all out, but literally, but he's still working on it now. Like, so he's now putting it into action. But anyway, back to you. But yeah, it was just really interesting, you know, how again you just wake up and go, I've got this crazy idea, like a very, very vivid dream. I said, I just got to write it down. This is what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Just wrote down the whole storyline and then went back to bed. It's like, it's nuts, man.
But I've worked with loads of musicians over the year, and it's like some of the most talented musicians that I've ever played with, like naturally talented people, don't get anywhere because they just don't work at it. And you know, like yesterday, if I'd have took that that line, which is, I'm not going to be fucking interested in this, and just went,
yeah.
oh, well,
he's
told you to fuck off. Like, fuck off, you know? I was like, no. But then that's that belief of, no, you're going to want to hear this. You know, so not because, you know, I want you to do anything for me. Your world will not be fucking better if you don't fucking listen to this. You know, and his world is better today, I believe. Right now,
3 or 4 minutes of your time. Yeah, let's listen to it.
Having said that, you know, he must get stuff sent to him and go, there's 3 minutes of my life I'm never getting back again. But, you know, I was like, if you listen to 30 seconds of this, you know, that intro of Hurricane is like, well, hang on, okay, that's exciting. It's like, that'd be enough to drag him in. And then he obviously listened to it a few times and has gone, I like this. But that's
it's also it's a good tune. It's a catchy song. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but then I think if I'm to say what I think I'm good at, is catchy choruses. I think that's, you know, there's something that people were going to go away and sing. You know, the Com stuff was the same. You know, stuff that I've written, the very first song I ever wrote. You know, I could sing it to you now. Well, I'm not going to, but I could sing it to you now because I remember it because it had a hook. And, you know, we're saying about Coldplay. You know, whether you're a Coldplay fan or not, and a lot of people, it's weird. I've never met a Coldplay fan, but they fucking sell out everywhere, man. You know, so somebody likes them, and it's, you know, and that's because they go, right, there's a hook, sing it. You know, that fucking Paradise song, you know,
I forgot last man, yeah.
You know, and that's just one of hundreds they got, and it's grabbing that thing and going, yeah, run with that. You know, like I said earlier on, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. You know, some people will listen to my stuff and go, well, they're not doing anything Oasis weren't doing in 1992. They're not doing anything the Beatles didn't do. They're not doing anything the Who didn't do. And it's like, no, that's all right. You know, but that was when music was, in my opinion, fucking great. And why should you reinvent it? Guitar bands always come round.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, like, again, this is an ongoing conversation I've had with people as well. But it's like, how important is it to have, you know, like to try and create this really unique sound? I said, it's not. It's, in my opinion, it's not. Like, go with something that sounds great. And if you, I had another guy actually who said this, and these words have stuck with me. He said, if it sounds good, it is. It is good.
Simple. I look at, you know, and not necessarily a Robbie Williams fan, right? But when he did Angels, love it or hate it, it's got that hook and it's a great tune, right? He then tried to reinvent it and did Rude Box, which was shit, because he wanted something
horrible song,
which was like, let's try and be something a little bit like, why? Keep writing Angels, just keep doing that. But then, you know, he was writing with that guy, whatever his name was. He was a great songwriter. Yeah. But that's the problem. It's like if you buy Jarvis Lane's first album, if you buy their fifth album, it won't be like techno fucking jazz funk opera, because that's what we are. You know, this is who we are, and what we'll do is we'll give you a load of albums like that. I mean, I was watching an interview with Noel Gallagher the other day, and they were saying, like, why don't you write things like Rock and Roll Star and that anymore? And he went, because I'm a millionaire. I don't know what it's like to be on the dole anymore. I don't know what it's like to be struggling. I can hardly go and write a shitload of, you know, songs about being on my ass. And I was like, yeah, you're right, you know. But fortunately for me, I think we've probably got, and if Alan McGee's watching, you know, I've probably got 3 or 4 albums full of stuff like Definitely Maybe that I've got already. So there's loads of these songs. So by the time I'm a millionaire, I still would have had 4 albums worth of that other stuff that everyone's going to love. And in the meantime, I'm still writing. So it's a case of, like, if that's what my only slight reservation there is like, the younger people of today don't know what it's like to be on your ass. I can remember when I was 14 going on a poll tax riots because I believed Like he wasn't even old enough to pay the poll tax, but I fucking went because it was like my mum and dad have to pay the poll tax, and I'm gonna fucking fight. Right? And there was that whole thing. Whereas, what have they got to? Like if they want something, they press a button on Amazon and it comes later that afternoon. They don't have to wait for fuck all. They've got this, thing where no, they don't have to work for something, because I wouldn't want to be young in this time.
Oh, it would be stressful, man.
Yeah, and they've got completely different stresses to what we had. Yeah, but it's like I almost want to drag them over to come over and see these stresses, because these stresses were actually quite exciting. Can you imagine being on a poll tax riot when you're 14? It was mental. But it was great. It was exciting.
It's just such a different time. Actually, I had a chat to my wife about it the other day, because obviously, like when you have kids and you sort of see how they go through life, everybody has mobile phones and iPads and stuff, and like everybody's like you're constantly connected. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, and there are good sides to it. Listen, we're doing this.
Absolutely.
That's the good thing about that.
You got to embrace. You got to embrace the opportunities.
And it is a form of communicating, but when that form of communicating gets in the way of actual real communication, that's when we have a problem. Like my nephew's 10, and he's I said, you're going to have massive thumbs come the end of this decade, because he did this the whole time, and like we'll go out, and bless him, my sister, his mum is, she'll go like, right, it's time to put that away, and it's like you're removing a lung.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a conversation to be had here where you might learn some shit and contribute to. When we were younger, going to the pub was different. You go to the pub and I'd stand at the bar and chat to my mates. Whereas now they all get shit faced before they go out, because they can't afford, to drink when they're out. But then they go out and talk about being zombies. Jesus. And
everybody's on their phone, like they're sitting together, at a table, and everybody's chatting to someone else. Online.
I did this one. We went out for dinner with all our friends. It was a massive table, and all our friends, right? And there was one on his phone. And I was like, "What are you doing? We're all here." And he went, "I'm just texting the guy over." And I went, "Fucking talk to him." I think with the comms actually, I stopped a song because we were playing at Glastonbury Festival, right? And there was a kid at the front with his phone like this. He's doing all this. And I stopped. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "What? I'm just filming." And I went, "Why?" He went, "Oh, I'm going to watch it later." I said, "You're here now." I said, "You're here now." He said, "Yeah, well, I'm tagging my friends." I said, "Where are your friends?" "Oh, they're not here. They're somewhere else." I said, "Well, they're not your fucking friends, then, are they?" I said, "Look," I said, at the end of the day, I said, "Put your phone away." I said, "Feel that fucking bass drum in your chest." I said, "Smell the guy next to you." I said, "That's what a gig's about. Fucking enjoy it now, because I guarantee when you get home and you listen to it on that piece of shit phone, right, we ain't going to sound like you can hear
horrible.
It now."
Yeah.
Right? I said, "And you'll put it on the internet and all the rest of it." I said, "Look, put it away, enjoy the gig, right? And if you really enjoy the gig, go home, tell all your mates what they missed." I said, "And make sure they fucking come to the next one." He's like, "Oh, okay." And he put his phone away and he jumped around, what he seemed to be having a good night. But it was like, what? I don't get it. You go to gigs now, or you play gigs, and that's all you see is...
Yeah, I know.
Like
I know.
Fucking 1,000 phones in here.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why? No, right. If I had my way, if I could, I'd release everything on vinyl, and I would ban mobile phones from gigs. But I'm also...
But they also, I reckon they also, especially when you sort of reach a certain size, I reckon the fact that people can, live stream, or they can grab a video and send and add to their Facebook profile, as long as they remember to tag your fucking name in it, that'll greatly increase your reach organically.
But like what I was saying was, is as long as that form doesn't get in the way of...
Absolutely.
It's like, because that's the thing. This all can help. Don't get me wrong, but like fundamentally, I go and watch a band because I want them to blow me away. I want to feel, like I said, I want to feel that thump in my chest. I want that guitar to rip my ears off, and I want to, and I also want my front man to be a rock star. I don't want him to be like me whilst I'm stood in the crowd. I want him to be out there. I don't want Liam Gallagher to be a nice guy, do it? I want him to throw things out of windows and be a bit of a prick. And that's and rock stars used to be like that. Keith Moon, you wouldn't take Keith Moon home to your mum, would you? But that's why they're different. And if that starts overlapping and not, I don't mean you got to be a knob, but be different. When I say with any band that I've ever been in, whether it be a function band or whether it be, an original band or a covers band, I've always said, right, have your clothes for going on stage and have your whatever. I said, and don't get changed and arrive at the gig where people can see you. Half hour before we go on stage, come backstage, put your gigging gear on, because then you're putting on your uniform to be a fucking rock star, and that's how it should be. That's why the army wear uniforms. That's why the police wear uniforms. It's because you're getting your mindset in that place.
I'm going to work now. I'm going to
do and that's why it's important that. And don't get me wrong, Oasis did the whole. They probably wouldn't like what I'm about to say, but they did the whole. We're just normal guys wearing normal clothes that you all wear. Where yeah, but because you wore them, the Umbro stuff then all of a sudden fucking 30,000 kids wanted to wear it. So that was your uniform.
They want to be you. Yeah.
And then, and Liam's got his own clothing label now, so that just about blows out of the water. But it's right.
You're just being you're just being a bit smarter. Like you're actually utilizing some of the attention you're going to get and try and turn that into business.
And I love the clothes he wears. So that's so why shouldn't he produce them? But I've worried about the music industry. People haven't got a voice. They haven't got their own viewpoint. Worrying about Simon Cowell taking away your livelihood is a bad thing. I think it's. Can you imagine if John Lydon went on Britain's Got Talent or whatever the fuck it's called back in the day? It just I'd like to see that. I'd love to put him in that situation with Simon Cowell, probably knock his head off, which would be fantastic.
Well, so how do you make money today in the music industry?
How do you make money today? I think the same as always. I think you've got to have something that people want, and you've got to tell them that they want it, and you've got to tell them that they want it so much that they go, "You're right, I fucking do." And I still, when they've like the Jarvis stuff, when it comes out, it will be on a CD. We are going to get vinyl done because there are people out there who love that form. And will it be streamable? I'm sure it will be. But a little bit of me is like, about that. But listen, I'm not. Although I'm a romantic in the sense of the industry, I'm also a realist in that people have to be able to get all of your music. And I think.
But is that a way to make music these days? Sorry,
is that
a way to make money these days?
No, I think the only way you make money in the industry today is by touring, doing gigs, merchandise, T-shirts, and shit like that.
Right.
But it needs. But if you're going to brand something, it's got to be a brand that people go, I want that on my chest because I like their music. If I don't know. You're not going to get a punk wearing a fucking Coldplay T-shirt, are you? So it has to be the thing, no matter how great the Coldplay T-shirt might look, if it's got Coldplay written on it, it's the music that makes him go, no, I'm not going to wear that, or yes, I am going to wear that. And so it's still about the music, in my opinion. It still has to be about, it's like that guy, Dixie said yesterday, in his post that he put up about Hurricane, you know, just when I'd lost faith in music and whiny bastards, male and female, taking up the airwaves, a hurricane comes along, and that hurricane's Jarvis Lane and this song. And it's like, yeah, that's because there's still lots of people out there who want that, you know. So I'm happy to give them that and see where
how do you find them? How do you find the people that would want Jarvis Lane and that would want your product? Because you gotta find that way of just grinding through the noise. And
I think things sell because people believe it, right? Now, fundamentally, the songs I've written for Jarvis Lane absolutely have been for me. Like I said to you about, you know, I want the next Oasis stroke Beatles stroke Who album for me, right? And because I will be able to go listen to that, like that yesterday. Just fucking listen to it. I don't have to talk it up. I don't have to explain it. Just listen to it. And if you listen to it, it'll be great. And the fact that I can do that because I 110% believe in it, you just need to get more people listening to that first 30 seconds, right? Because out of a million people, you know, quite a high percentage are going to go, oh, I've been waiting for that. And so, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever we want to put it, you know, what we have to do is have some people opening the right doors for us. You know, I said to someone this morning, like someone like Soccer AM. You probably don't have that in your over there, but there's a football program. But they mix the two. They have football and music, and they have a band on. Yeah, they have a band on at the beginning. Then they talk a load of football and do a load of stupid shit, and then that same band closes the show. And something like that for us would be great because we all love football, and or probably you call it soccer, but we all love football, and we all love music. So a show like that would be great. Jules Holland, those sort of things. They're the sort of doors that we need kicking open and getting on, so that. A lot of people watch Jules Holland because they want to see a new band. You know, if you want to hear the latest noise that someone tells you that you should listen to, then you listen to Radio 1. If you want to see something new, you watch things like Jules Holland or, you know, Soccer AM, because they have new bands on. And it's things like that someone like Alan McGee or someone of that nature could phone someone and go, by the way, could you just have a listen to these? And then you're in, aren't you? Because they got like audiences of millions. So it's those sorts of things that we're going to be trying to do. And just honestly, go and watch that film, Svengali, right? Because that Dixie, right? He wouldn't take no for an answer. He had a mate and a school friend from when they were kids who he grew up with, who was now a A&R guy in London, right? And he thought, we're all mates. Of course, the guy didn't want to know him. Slammed the door in his face, told him to fuck off and all that stuff. But he sat outside and just waited and just hassled until, you know, it was him who ended up signing the band at the end of the film. But nice. And it was just that never giving up. If you firmly believe in it, so if you're not 100% confident in it, then go away and hone it until you are, because no one's going to buy something from you. No one will buy anything from anybody that you think, you don't really believe in this shit. Look at what you're doing.
Very true. Very true.
You know, look at what you're doing. You know, we had this idea to do some podcasts and blah blah, and now we're on number 64 or whatever it might be. And
yeah, it's pretty stupid, isn't
it? Well, you've interviewed like so many different types of musicians, bands, and stuff, and it's getting out there. People are tuning in and watching, but why? But it's because you're passionate about it. You know, the fact that I've come back on is because you're someone who gets it. You're someone who, you know, and like in my work where I help people with addiction and that, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. right? And it's a bit like that, like you're a musician. You're someone who's been in bands, you know the struggles, you know the pitfalls, you know those walls you keep banging your head against, and you're still doing it. You're still in there. So your audience are going to be people like you who are going to get it, and that's only going to grow because there's fucking loads of us, right? And
yeah, absolutely. And everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah, and we've all, and I'm sure out of the 64 podcasts you've done, everyone's come on here and said similar things, but just with different slants on it and different ideas, which, I can go back and watch the other 62, because I'm in 2 of them now, but I can go back and watch the other 62 and go, I haven't thought about doing that. I haven't thought about, and I've watched some live, but, I've been messaging you while we've done it,
Yeah.
And those things are,
there's a red line for sure.
Because you can get a bit like down a rabbit hole. Yep. With ambition and it's got to be like this, got to be like this, and then sometimes it just takes someone to shine a bit of a different torch on it and go, well, have you tried doing this? Yesterday was a completely different attitude from me than normal. Normally, I would have thought, he ain't gonna want to listen to that. Why would he want to listen to that? Why would he want to take time out of his? Because he's a good friend of that Sally. He's probably out celebrating with her. He ain't gonna have time. He's gonna have had a beer and he's gonna tell me to fuck off, which is what happened. But then I went, no, your world's gonna be shit if you don't have this in it. I didn't say that, but I just, in my action of going, well, I've sent it anyway. That was the way it was, and because of that, I've now had a better conversation with him.
I definitely have a foot inside the door. Yeah. Massive foot, most likely.
If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But
of course,
I'll tell you what it did do. I had my missus said, "Good, you had a spring in your step yesterday." I was like, "You're fucking right," because somebody who doesn't know me, doesn't know any history of me, nothing, listened to one of my songs and went, "That's the best thing I've had sent to me," if nothing else. And that's somebody who's got Alan McGee's ear. That's somebody who's involved in the industry. And
that is pretty cool. I mean,
it's immense.
Yeah.
And I'm truly thankful for it. I'm not sat here now going, "Hey, that's it. We've done it." I still got to bang on lots of other doors. I haven't signed anything. We haven't done anything other than we got some nice things said about us. Great. Well, then I need to hustle and keep pushing. A bit like in that film. Where it's like, okay, yeah, believe in it enough to just keep going. I know you on a recommendation from yourself, you got in contact with Numb, and they're another
they
group
are who, next level
awesome.
Again, next level. I was like, sorry to interrupt. One of the things I was really blown away by those guys is the fact that they have not only do they play really, really good music, but they have really mastered the craft of creating a business. Like they figured out to shoot some really high-end video, to produce their own songs, record everything, and book tours and that is such a well-oiled machine that unfortunately, obviously because of COVID, have sort of been put a little bit on hold. But guess what? Then they figure out how to live stream.
And they're doing it, and they're getting money donated doing it.
It's so impressive. It's so impressive, man.
And it's just because I'm on here, but I think I said this to you when I said about them. They're just genuinely really lovely people.
Oh, they were so nice.
Which I don't think, because I don't know if you ever saw the video, or we did a Christmas song together.
I haven't seen that.
In it. And it's worth a look. We had the best day. We did this video, right? Where basically we went and we had Christmas Day right in the middle of June or whenever it was, right? And we had this big Christmas. We actually cooked a Christmas dinner and we all sat around, got pissed, like just had a Christmas Day and filmed it, right? And played Twister. Did all that, it was like mental day, and filmed it, and that came from. They contacted me and said, "Are you doing anything on this day? Do you fancy coming and putting your pretty face in a video for us?" I was like, "Absolutely," and that went from going, do you want to be in the video? To there's this bit in the front which could do with something. Could you write something? And that was on the Wednesday, and it was a Thursday, and we were due to film on the Friday. I was like, yeah, but he said, just record whatever into your mobile phone. We'll lip sync to that, and then we'll record it afterwards. So I was like, so I had like an hour to just write this beginning, and I wrote this bit, and I sent it, and he went, "That's exactly what we wanted," because it's actually me on the intro. It's like I'm the first thing that you hear, and he said, "You just like you got it, what we wanted," and we've just got an episode. They played with us. They played with the comms a couple of times now, but from the first day I met them, we clicked, got on, and they've been around a long time. And he's true to his. This is who we are, and I know they've turned down lots of deals because they weren't right for none, and that takes balls, because you get dangled a big deal,
But that's again another really interesting conversation. That's the whole thing. Like, how important is a deal these days? Because put it this way, if you're really good at what you're doing, if you're building your online presence, like they have a lot of really good videos. And actually, I can try and sort of push it over to you as well with regards to comms. Like, you guys have put out a lot of videos. You've got a lot of content online as well. Like, you even have a couple of documentaries about how the band started and all that. What sort of, like, all that creates value. So as a fan, absolutely, yeah. As a fan, when you go out and you say, "Wow, I like these guys. I really connect with these guys." I can see, they're playing shows. They've got good videos. They've got, good merchandise and all that stuff. How important would it then be to get a deal? And I can understand that deal will have to be quite substantial for you to hand over that value to someone else.
Well, I guess the thing is, I'm just using Alan Mickey because that's who we were talking about earlier on. But say Alan Mickey, he's not with Creation anymore. But let's say he came and said to Jarvis Lane, "I want to sign you." We've got like the first, like I said, 3 or 4 albums, pretty much, written. The first 2, I'd say, are recorded. So it's like, okay, well, what's a record deal going to actually do for us? Now, distribution you can get yourself. However, getting a good distribution deal that actually really works for you, I'm not that guy. I'm not head of a record company, so I've got an idea of what I would do, but having someone with that knowledge, just like when I go into the studio with Ollie, I go to the studio not because I just like being in the studio, but I go for his, what he knows.
Yeah.
And I guess someone like Alan McGee could go, well, I can make a phone call and you could be on Soccer AM, you could be on Jules Holland, we could get you distribution in this and this country, and we can sew all that up. Because it used to be years ago, is, £500,000, get in the studio, do the album, we'll put it out, we'll do all the promotion. Well, as you quite rightly say, bands are doing their own studio stuff now. I turned down quite a massive deal in 2012. I won't say who with, and that's purely because if they offer me again, I don't want to fucking get involved with that, right? But I got offered a really massive deal with a big company. Now, what they wanted, now this has happened to me before. I signed a deal 88 with a company, but I was signed for a tax loss. Right? What? Now, what I mean by that is the record company needed to lose some money. Right? So what they did, they pumped a load of money into our album. Right? And when it came to the point where it was done and ready for release, they kept saying, "No, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right." And what they did was put it on a shelf so that when the tax year came round, they could go, we've spent this much money and lost on it. so that then they didn't have to pay so much tax.
Really? That wow.
So when you're, I mean, this is back in.
So what happened? So what happened to
that album?
Just got
that album was sat on a fucking shelf somewhere because when you sign a deal, you don't have the rights to that. So it's not like even we could go, well, let us have it, and we'll go and like today I could go, let me have it, and I'll put it out myself. You know, as it happened, because they kept diluting it, which I now know was their idea. Like they signed this band, fucking it ended up being this shit, which is just like whatever. So when this deal came up in 2012, I went and had a meeting, and they said, right, you know, we love your old profile, blah blah blah, and everything else. And what we want to do is we want to give you these songs, and for you to record these. And I was like, well, I got these songs. And they were like, yeah. But we think your first album should be these things. And I was like, no, I'm not into that, because I'd rather put out my stuff and a few people like it than even put out someone else's stuff and I'll go like, because then you're not being authentic, are you? And I know that's a big buzzword.
True.
But, and it's like, that's not who I am. You know, so I don't want to be on the front cover of fucking, I don't know, whatever magazine singing a cover version of some blah, you know. I'd rather be singing to 50 people in a pub doing my song, and because I'll get more out of that, because that's my identity. That's who I am.
Absolutely.
So I had to sort of say no, and it's really interesting because at the same time I was dropping all my weight, see. And the company I was dropping my weight with, they were interviewing me to go in for this Slimmer of the Year competition, right? And they sent a guy down to do this interview, and we were chatting, and off the thing, because I'd said to him, by the way, I've got like I got fucking such and such a company interested in signing me, and he was like, ooh. Okay. Now I could see in his head a little bit like, ooh, if our Slimmer of the Year signs to blah blah blah, that would be quite good. And so when it came to the day of the competition, I got down to the final two in this Slimmer of the Year, right? And I'd gone up and I'd done my interview on stage in front of all these people and they were doing their voting, and it used to be that the people in the room would vote for who they wanted to win. So it's out to voting, right? And he come flying over from, I hadn't seen him all day, and he come over and he said, oh, how's the deal going with blah, blah, blah? And I went, oh, I turned them down. And he went, sorry? What? And I went, yeah, it wasn't for me, really. And I could see him just go, oh, no, we put him in the final, and now he's going to win it, and he's turned down his company, and I did win. I did win the Slimmer of the Year thing. And nice. But I could just see this whole, it was like, no, I don't want to be anyone's puppet. I don't want to be anyone's puppet. And it's the same one, because I auditioned for The Voice. Have you got The Voice in Australia?
Yeah, yep.
I auditioned for that, and which was interesting, because I've never been into doing anything like that. And
was there any TV footage?
Well, I'll get there.
Yeah.
When you first go for the first audition, you basically go to a hotel room, right? And a bloke stands there with his mobile phone and says, right, sing. No music, nothing, just sing, right? Now, the thought of that used to fry my brain, right? It was like, because I wasn't very confident in my own vocals and stuff. I was going through this whole transition, and then it's just like, and I went and I sung, right? And he put turned the phone off, and he said, okay, he said, you've got no confidence at all in your voice. And I said, yeah, I know, that's why I'm here. I said, stick me in front of a band, I'll fucking blow your head off. And he went, where's that come from? I said, look, the reason I'm here, the reason I'm doing this audition, I said, it's not even that I want to be on The Voice. I said, but he said, because you've got no right to not like your voice. He said, you've got a bit of a raspiness in your voice. He said, I can hear you singing sort of like Killersy type, that sort of stuff. He said, And he said, but you got no confidence. I said, well, that's why I'm here. I said, I didn't want to go on Britain's Got Talent or that other shit Simon Cowell does, because it's all about the story and, you know, and I'm not interested in that. I just want to be judged on this, which The Voice is.
Yeah.
And he went, so he said, here you go, here's this code. I want you to come through to the TV, the live shows. You've got to put this code in, and then you book your place, and then you'll be in front of it. So I walked out of there, and I ticked my box for me. I was like, he thinks my voice is good enough. So I didn't bother, right? I didn't bother going and doing the TV.
Right.
And on the day he called me, he said, where are you? I said, what do you mean? I said, I didn't put the code in because, I said, to be honest, I said, it ticked my box for me. And, you know, I'm not really that interested in. And he said, why? And I said, because look, I said, if I win it and I sign a deal, you're going to make me sing that shit, which isn't me. And I said, the reason I did it was because I had to overcome one of my fears, which was to just stand in a room and sing a cappella. And for you to go,
that's so cool, man. That's so cool.
I said, if you'd have turned around and gone, yeah, you shit, fuck off. I said, I would have been no worse off. I would have carried on because I'm great in front of a band. I said, but the fact that you said I had a good voice, I said, did it for me. And he then said one thing that confirmed that I'd made the right decision, because he said, right, he said, but I really think you do well. And I went, I know, thanks. I really appreciate it. And he went, and with your story, and I went, what about my story? He said, well, you know, he said, I Googled you and you've dropped a load of weight and you've beaten a load of demons. He said, I think you win it on that. And I went, I thought it's called The Voice. He said, look, it's TV. And I went, no, mate, not interested. And I got off and I went and I never went for it. And like, so many people don't understand that. And they go, are you insane? You could have been doing da da da. And I was like, but it wouldn't have been, you know, beating all those demons that I did and everything else would have accounted for nothing if I'd have gone and then pretended to be somebody else. It's like, that's not what I'm about.
But at the same time, like, look, I agree in the commercial TV format, like The Voice or like Idols or something like that. Yeah. That's probably not the right forum. But to tell your story is something that, if you could do that in the right format, something that is you and you have the artistic control over it, that is something that would
awesome.
You know, make people connect and probably, you know, create that value and create that X factor.
But that was the thing. Like, if I was able to tell my story in my words, doing it my way, fantastic. But I just knew that they were going to go, yeah, you can tell your story, and we'll pick out the boo-hoo bits, but you got to do this, you know. And I was like, because I can tell this. Listen, that's what I'm doing now. I'm telling people this story, and people will pick up on this, or they won't, or whatever. And I tell my story when I'm doing my work, when I'm out talking to people with addictions, when I'm doing seminars and stuff. I tell my story every day, you know, and I get a lot of that in itself. Again, is therapeutic. It's brilliant for me. So, and within my music, the album. That the first album, if you like, Jarvis Lane, is called Great Expectations, you know, because it was that thing of, that's what I have of myself. I have great expectations, and through doing what I'm doing it my way, I have massive expectations of what it is about, you know, not necessarily about what it's going to do, but what it is about. And it's autobiographical in a lot of ways. So I get to go, here's my story in song, and if you want to hear my story from a gob, then come, we'll have a chat. But I want to be able to do this bit alongside this bit, and it's be me and just authentic to who I am. And there'll be some bits that you won't like, you know, when you're talking to people about addiction and stuff, you know, whatever you're addicted to, that word scares the shit out of people. You know, and it's ugly, and to a lot of, you know, intensive addiction is seen as something that, oh yeah, it's what people talk about behind closed doors. Well, I've never shied away from talking to people about, you know, my demons and my addictions and stuff, because I've come out the other side, and the only way that people are going to understand that what I'm saying is authentic and true is if I'm honest with people. You know, I'm nothing but honest about all the shit that I went through. Yeah,
and you've done it. Yeah.
And it's that thing, you know, like I said, difference between sympathy and empathy. You know, when you have empathy, it's because you've come from a place that I know how that feels.
I understand.
Yeah, I understand, and it's exactly that. And so that has always been important. You know, since I dealt with my stuff, that's always been important to me. And now it's important to me within my music. You know, the reasons I wanted the communicators to be the comms and to change that thing was when I'm stood up there singing madness songs or other people's songs, I'm not that's not who I am. You know, I don't want to be Suggs. Fucking hell, Jesus, you know, that's not, you know, that's not who I am. I want to be Mitch and tell Mitch's story. And so because music and my life is so, you know, together, I can't, why I left the communicators in the first place is because I went through this whole thing and this all became one thing. And it's like being able to split that, and I can't do that because A, I don't want to, and B, it is all intertwined now. It's who I am. And that's massive. That's massive to me. So yeah, you know, I'm not prepared to not put me out there for who I am. But then that comes back to that thing that I was saying earlier on about actually having something to say. Some people will be scared of that. Some record companies wouldn't want, you know, they'd be like, well, what fucking demons you got in the cupboard? Let's just sweep them over there, and I never want to see a picture of you at 23 stone. Well, tough shit, because they're out there, you know? Yeah, and the fact that I used to drink too much, tough shit, that was out there. I did some crazy fucking stuff that, you know, am I proud of? No, but it is out there. You will find it. So, you know, I'm not going to pretend. Oh, that
that's
white
also
and white.
help you, but that's also help you define who you are today. Like that's.
Well, yeah. There's a time where you've got to look in the mirror and go, like, this is you. You know, and you need to change.
It was you.
Yeah, and you need to change that. That's what I mean by there's that period where you have to look in the mirror and go, this is you.
Oh,
yeah. You know, and that takes some fucking doing. You know, when you've been a knob to some people, there's never 100% this story and that story. There's somewhere in between is generally it, and part of that is you going, yeah, I played my part in that. Like my first wife, you know, it would be so easy to go, yeah, she was a bitch and she did this and da. I played my part in that.
It's two sides of the story.
Because that's just the way it is. You know, that's life. And, you know, and for me, music's a part of that. You know, the first Communicators album was a lot about my first marriage breakdown. You never know it, but there's loads of it in there. And you would know because I just told you. But you know, the songs in there you think, really? And you go, yeah, that's about that. That's the way that I dealt with the pain back then, was to poke fun at it and to, you know.
But that's the really cool thing, as you mentioned before, about music. Like, it becomes therapeutic, like, because it allows you to get that out. And I actually like that analogy you said. So you get to create this character, and you can give all that to that character.
Shit too.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And off you go now.
Leave it with them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's next now? So now you've got all these songs recorded.
Well, we are getting a set together. We've got about 45 minutes at the moment, and we're looking at doing about an hour and a half, and then we're going to do a live stream gig. Which I will let you know.
So you're going to start out doing a live stream gig. That's pretty cool.
That's how we launch it. It's going to be a live stream gig, which should be interesting because normally when you do a launch of a gig, you know, there's fucking people there, and then you feed off that. So it'll be I think it's great though, in a way, because it's like if no one logs in, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because you're not getting that thing, you know, or whatever. But then you can give that.
That's right.
You can give that live feed recorded to whoever, whenever, and go, this is what we're like, so that you can build a bit of a buzz, so that when the doors are open, people will come. And, you know, I've got people to come. You know, I've got a group, I think you're in it, you know, there's a private group for Jarvis Lane fans, or whatever you want to call them, and there's been nothing but nice things said about it in there. And it's weird because there's some comms people in there who possibly might have even been people who go, well, it's not really ska, and not really, but then this is completely different. And they go, I really like this though. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute, okay, whatever. Just if you like it, fucking great. You know,
you can listen to more genres though. Like it's okay to listen to more bands, people out there.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah. So there's that happening. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen with this conversation we had yesterday. Hopefully, that's going to be something that's going to push us forward.
Follow him up, man. Follow him up.
Yeah,
say, hey, buddy.
I'm
you want to have another song? More songs.
Yeah, I'm sort of drip feeding at the moment. So, but yeah, there's that. There's also, you know, what we're contemplating doing is our first album being a double album, and go bang, have this, you know, release that at the same, fucking just have it, yeah, greatest hits before we've had any, you know, and do that, and then the overall aim is obviously to go out there, actually playing to people when this thing decides it's gonna fuck off and leave us to it, and then, you know, and like I said right at the beginning, you know, this isn't. I'm not looking at this as this is the end of the comms, because there's still people that want that. You know, if I don't know how that's going to go, because we can't see into the future and see if, you know, I feel for brass players, because they're just not able to do the thing that they want to do, and it's just a bit of a shitter if that's your chosen instrument, and then you end up not being able to. But
is this just in the UK, or is this a part of sort of like the restrictions around Europe?
I mean, as far as I know, it's come from our government. It's got. I mean, the brass players told me it. You know, I haven't heard it even out of the government's lips, but that is 3 meters apart. Our sax player he's sort of in the know because he's an ex-copper, so he gets some information. But It just, how crap's that? You know, it's like, you would have thought it'd be the same with singing, you know, because you can't help it, you know, you go on, you know. But it's constantly blowing. I mean, if you stand next to a sax player for an hour and a half, there is a pool of shit on the floor.
Got a little valve.
And it's just gross, really.
It's super gross.
But, you know, it's not like drummers who just sweat. You know, but so it's.
But they are musicians.
Yeah, our drummers.
The good old drummer jokes.
Oh, what's that one about the how do you know your stages level?
I don't know.
Because the drummer drools out of both sides.
Oh man.
And I know a really long-winded one, but we ain't got time for that. But yeah, so I feel for it a bit, really, and the hope is that the comms will be able to go out and do the tour that they had booked. So, but that's so ambiguous that, you know, we don't know. But in the meantime, you know, I'm pushing this thing because it is something that's personal to me, and the band sound great. They really do sound great. You know, I'm bound to say that. But like I said, listen to the live recording, and I thought, if I walked into a place and heard this, I'd think, Jesus, rock and roll's back.
But so what? So are you guys going to do? Are you going to do website? Are you going to do some more videos? What sort of content are you like? How are you planning on sort of branding the band?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the logo is really simple. What you've seen is that's our logo, because it's just nice and simple. There will be lots of videos that will go with it. What we're trying to put a bit of a rein on it at the moment. Like, the only thing that we've put out there so far is Hurricane. So you playing Hey What You Doing will be new to people. And we're sort of going, like, we don't want to just go, here's everything, until it's all ready to to go. So there are videos, which is why I was able to go have a couple of videos, which I've done, which, you know, they definitely have my mark on them. You know, you see,
I love your style.
Yeah, so that's happening, and it's just a case of, you know, watch this space, and when we're ready to launch and do that gig, everything's going to go wallop. At that point, website, it's a place that you can go and buy merch. We've got some really nice baseball tops with Jarvis Lane written on them that girls seem to really love, and if you're in that private group, you'll be able to see it. If you're not in that private group and you want to have exclusives, then just go and find it. Just type in Jarvis Lane, and it's visible, but you can't get in it without being accepted.
Yeah. And again, like, and the other handles are just Jarvis, JARVIS Lane Band.
That's it. That's
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll find the sign. In fact, the baseball tops are on the Instagram as well.
Cool.
So, and they'll be available soon in all good car boot sales, probably.
Nice.
But you know, I mean, the whole thing's, you know, like I say about it forms in my head, the video, the this, the that, there, merchandise, it all does that. You know, there's a whole campaign already to go. It's just, you know, what I don't want to do is go push the button and then the band not be quite ready. But
it sounds like you are ready.
Yeah, we're pretty much there. You know, we could go out and do 50 minutes, and with a bit of in between, it'd probably be more like an hour. So we could go and play an hour set now, and it'd be awesome.
That's so impressive, man.
Yeah, because we probably, like I say, only had about eight or nine rehearsals, and it sounds kick-ass. So to the point where we did the live thing at the studio, and Ollie was like, "Yeah, this is going to be good. Actually, it's going to sound like us," which is fun. So there you go. That's sort of where I'm at, really, I guess.
That is, man. Look, it's still sort of based on where we left it last time. Again, you know, where you had we've been over it, like with comms, and the reason why you guys sort of had to put it on the shelf and stuff, and COVID and all that stuff. But the fact that you just say, "I'm just gonna create another band," then, you know, and now actually ready to do stuff, got everything up and running, is impressive.
Yeah, I think it would have been easy to be afraid of doing it. You know, because, you know, it's, you know, you can't go, this is what you need in your life, this is what you need in life, and then go, oh yeah, actually forget that, this is what you need in your life, this is what you need in life, which it could have felt a bit like that, because it's so polar opposite. You know, a Jarvis Lane gig would not suit comms people, and vice versa, probably.
What about a Mitch Jones? Would there be any solo stuff?
Well, there's lots of stuff which would be probably considered that. You know, right. This is I mean, in the time that I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, not all suitable for either project. So yeah, I'll send you some of my other, I don't know what you would call that, but Mitch Jones stuff.
Well, it's I'm just thinking about, obviously, if you if the whole dream is to be a millionaire like the Gallaghers, then
well, you know, there's plenty of material there for, you know, to last me a lifetime. So, but at the moment, it's the Jarvis Lane stuff is just, listen, it's new, isn't it? So new shiny tool is always the best at that current time. But it's something that's been in the back of my head for a long time. You know, if I was, not that I think this should happen, but if someone was to go, like, what is your genre? What do you naturally do? How is it? Then it would be that, you know, because as your T-shirt suggests, they're I don't understand anyone who doesn't like the Beatles, but, you know, it's that thing of what they did was that spoke to me. I know I wasn't born then, I don't know, whatever, but, you know, listening to my mum's records and that when I was a kid, you know, going around the room with a tennis racket pretending to be George Harrison was like, that was part of my life growing up. I didn't even know really Jordan. I just looked at the back of the Revolver and he looked the coolest one. I was like, I'm going to be him. What does he do? He plays the lead guitar. Right, well, fab. Then it was a disappointment to me. I couldn't play guitar. So, fuck, I'm Ringo. I thought, Jesus, okay. Well, that's a start. At least I'll be in a band.
Yeah, I remember you told that whole story and in the first chat we had, which was quite a good conversation, quite amusing.
Yeah. So if you're watching, you have to go back and see the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend that one.
Yeah.
Look, man. I would love to hear some more. So maybe we could have another chat in a couple of months. But you've done your live stream.
Absolutely.
You've sort of
I'll
gotten the product out there. Oh, definitely send us the link. Yeah, absolutely. Got to make sure we share that.
And watch that. And then maybe that would be a thing to do after we've put it out there to be
put the album out,
looked at. Then let's get back on here and do some more promoting. And it's always lovely to talk to you anyway.
And you got absolutely, and likewise. Well, we do speak quite regularly though on Messenger and all that.
Well, we've been avoiding each other because we've thought, well, if I tell you all, we won't have anything to talk about.
Oh yeah, about this. Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, it's like you can't spill all the beans, man.
Yeah, you can't shoot it all in one go.
But look, it sounds super exciting too about that the Dixie guy. And what
fingers crossed.
Can come up with absolutely.
Yeah, and if I get to meet Alan McGee, I should send him your regards.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Sounds good.
Watch that film though, it's great. You'll love it.
I've written down here Svengali. I've come across the name before though. I don't know if that has been in
there's another film. Yeah, there's another film called Svengali and it was like 1961 or something. But this is 2013.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be the 60s one.
Yeah, no, because I don't even know what that's about. And the Svengalis were they were a group of people that I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, you go and watch this film. It's on I think it's on Amazon now.
Right,
you can get it on Amazon or Netflix
so many streaming services. But that again comes back to a thing you said earlier about what you spend your time on, and that's one thing that I've found that if you because I'm the same. I'm almost like an addict. If I pick up a TV show, I just gotta binge watch it. I just have to. I just gotta finish it. Yeah. So for that,
I just finished watching Taboo. Have you seen that?
No.
With Tom Hardy?
No,
that's dark.
But it's I can't do that because then. Like if I go and I find someone and it's got like 6 seasons and they're like 20 episodes each, I'd be like, oh fuck.
There's one season, right? And it's 8. Go and watch it. Taboo.
All right. I'll write that down because that sounds comprehensible. I made my way through the 2 Cobra Kai because I just had to watch them.
Oh, me too, man.
I hammer through them in like a week, bang.
And then I did that, and then like,
season 3 is coming in.
It's March.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait for that. Fucking hell.
But that's how it is. And then my whole point about it was that is just gonna suck out your time. Whereas usually. That's about the time, all our kids are asleep. If I haven't got a stream, that's usually where I can sit down and I can actually get some more shit done. But then you go, I'm tired tonight. You can't be fucked going to the gym. I'm just going to put on Netflix. And then 6 hours later and 2 a.m.
Well, I've written 50 songs. I've put a new band together. I've got a 1-year-old.
Oh, but you're not human. That is.
And I've watched Cobra Kai. So come on, crack on.
Oh, that is next level, man. That is next level. Sure. I actually don't think people actually understand also how much preparation actually goes into setting all these streams up as well. That's another thing. So I'm actually you are my last one for a week and a half for that same reason. I need to catch up with a lot of the old stuff and some of the admin
and recharge. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, man. I did 6 last week. That was too much, man. I was so tired. Literally.
Yeah. Well. I'm glad I'm your last one for a while.
Yeah, man. But look, it was a pleasure, Mitch. As always.
Nice to see you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, to see you without all the big Corona beard as
So,
well.
yeah, it's Corona
Same
beard,
here,
yeah, and like a shaved headlet.
Yep. Same.
All good, absolutely,
All
yeah.
back, all back.
Summer head, yeah.
That exactly, man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Cool.
Mitch. Let us before we finish off. Can you briefly touch base on hey, what you're doing? But can you just introduce the song? And this was the first time we're gonna play this.
This will be the first time people have heard it. Yeah, it was literally I coming home, and I think I said to you, I'd walk in and my son would be upstairs, and I'd be like, "Hey, what you doing?" And that went from that to talking to my wife, and there's a bit about my wife and my son and coming home and just my life a bit really, and but there's a little insecurity in there as well, which is a bit of a twist. So
how long?
I'll leave people to hear that.
So how long did it take to write this song? Just out of curiosity.
Literally from that moment where I discovered that me going, "Hey, what you doing?" which is how I used to say it, was a melody. Then from there it was minutes to write it, and then it was the bass line that came first, which has got this ding 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 ding, which was the bass line that was in my head and it's like and then it sort of went from there really. And to record that, we did that version that you've got. I think we did the demo in a day, and then we recorded like the final version within another day and a half.
That is spectacular.
It was mental because there's loads of strings on it and stuff as well, and there's there's some harps, and it's like there's just some pretty major things on it. So, but it's a cracking tune. It's different to Hurricane. You can hear it's the same band.
Yeah.
But it's
diversity.
Yeah. Light and shade, it's if Rock and Roll Star is here, and then you've got Don't Look Back in Anger here. It's that sort of diverse.
Yeah, man, fantastic.
To coin the episode, but hey, what are you doing? It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Fantastic. And on and all those words, let's wrap it up, Mitch. It was a pleasure. I'll chuck it on now, and I'll no doubt talk to you very soon.
Fab. See you soon.
See you, buddy.